So President Trump is trying something new to unlock the stalled housing market. Posting an image on Truth Social showing great American presidents, Franklin Roosevelt next to the 30-year mortgage, and himself.
I don't know how I feel about this 30-year mortgage versus 50-year mortgage. It's some pros and cons to it, but it could definitely allow a lot of people to afford a house. Because right now, interest rates are still a little bit high, whereas when you were getting a 2% interest rate, a 1% interest rates, your mortgage payments were a lot cheaper. So what they're doing now is they're attempting to offer a 50-year mortgage. Now, if you're the type of person that thinks in a way of I want to pay everything off, you can still do that with a 50-year mortgage. There's still ways that you can pay off your house, your home in 30 years, even with the 50 years. At least the 50 years will give you the cushion. So let's say, for example, you have a $2,000, hypothetically, a $2,000 mortgage for 50 years. And let's say, and I'm sorry, for 30 years. And let's say with a 50-year mortgage, it'll reduce it to about, let's say, 1,600. You're looking at it as if the bank is going to make all this money from interest. But if you add maybe 3 or 4 extra payments to the principal, you can still reduce it down to about a 25, maybe 15-year mortgage or less. So, a lot of people are saying that the interest rates are high and the bank is going to make, you just can't do the conventional way of, if you're just going to consistently pay it for 50 years. You also got to understand that you have to add maybe 50 to extra, what, 2, 3, 4 payments to your principal, which will allow you to reduce the years and pay off your mortgage a lot faster. So if this allows you to get into a house, well, it's not a bad thing. And for investors, you can always buy it and, sell within the next, 5 to 10 years or flip it. So it kind of works out. Um, if you're thinking in the sense of I want to pay it off and I have 50 years, then it probably won't work. You just got to make it work for you. So some pros and cons to it.
Next to a 50-year mortgage. All right, so Caroline, I think a lot of this is aimed at younger people who cannot get in a home. They feel like mortgage rates are too high, housing prices are too high, therefore they can't afford the monthly payment. They need help. 50-year mortgage. Technically, I think it would bring down your monthly payment, but is it appealing to that younger voter, that younger person who wants to get into a home?
Well, first thing I'll say is that a 50-year mortgage will dispense of the idea that eventually you will own your home. Right. And you, for over a decade, you're going to be paying mostly interest on that home. So that's kind of an alarming statistic as well. But the instincts here from...
But are young voters doing the math like that? Or are they just saying, I could finally afford to get into a home?
Well, so here's what I'll say about Gen Z. For Trump to do this, his instincts are smart, given Mamdani's win among Gen Z voters in New York City. There is real generation.
So let's take a look at this. 30-year fixed principal and interest, 2,000. 40-year fixed, 1891. A 50-year fixed, almost what? $2,000? $200? $200 makes a difference, but. And listen, the option is there, They haven't implemented it yet, but here's the thing. It's not for everybody. It's just like your car payment. You got 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, and 7 years. So with mortgages, you have 15, 20, 30, and possibly 50. If this actually happens, I could say in the next 10, 15 year, they may bump it up to 70 years. A 70-year mortgage.
Pain among Gen Z. We feel like we've been priced out of the real estate market. You see all these memes on social media that are something to the effect of the baby boomers are celebrating the sale of the $3.2 million property, which they bought in 1969 for 3 raspberries or a bushel of corn or a couple nickels. That's the sense of intergenerational theft that Gen Z feels. But the problem is that this is going to perpetuate this vicious cycle of government intervention, as we were saying before, and it's just continuing to dump trillions of dollars on the subsidized housing market, which is only going to increase demand. It does nothing to address supply. So I think what we should be asking for Gen Z's sake is, how are we fixing the supply crisis, which is probably regulations for home builders?
Dagan.
The price just simply has to come down. Mm-hmm. And that is not going to happen just through additional new supply of new construction.
It's too much money in the economy.
It will be people being forced to sell, and it will be people cutting the price on their homes. And I don't want to wish a crisis on the housing market in this country, but ultimately prices have to ease.
I think for everyone, let me say this. The people who did not get into buying a home is wishing and praying for the prices to come down. And I hear it all the time. The people who did not pull the trigger when I was telling you should buy a house, these prices are never coming back. And you're telling me, oh, we got to wait, make sure everything is perfect. I got to pay this off. I got to pay that off. You always got something to pay off. That's just a part of it. Join the club. But I was telling a lot of people, like, listen, these interest rates are unheard of. You may never see it again. And a lot of people sat on the sideline, continue to wait. Oh, I want to get the dream home. I need 4 or 5 bedrooms. It's only you. I'm like, listen, this is free money. This is cheap money. What you should do is just buy a property. And hey, if you don't want it in the next 3 years, you can sell it, and the value, you will make a profit. But everyone look at the home process differently. Most people look at the home process in a sense where they're like, I want it to be my dream home. I want it to be my forever home. My forever home. Instead of looking at it as it's just another investment, in a sense of, I would prefer to pay a mortgage than pay rent. Because here's the thing. If I move, I could sell it. If I move, I could rent it. If I'm in trouble paying my mortgage, the bank will offer me so many different avenues of help in order to keep my home. If I can't afford the mortgage, I could put the missed payments on the back end. I could do a mortgage modification. I could borrow against the home. There's so many different things. Like, even right now, well, at least I would say, a week ago, when the government was shut down. And some of y'all saw it with credit cards, with mortgages. They had it where if you're being affected by the government shutdown, they have a plan in place for you with your mortgage company. They don't for renters. Because property management companies, big time landlords, they'll still go ahead and file eviction. Now, if you're a federal worker, you go to court, you could explain yourself. I'm pretty sure to get tossed out. But the benefits are primarily with mortgage owners, people that own homes. And then they're going to say, "Oh, I don't know if I want to live in this state forever." Okay, but when you figure it out, you can sell, you could rent it out, you could give it to a family member. There's so many different things you could do with a house versus an apartment. And then too, your money is not being thrown away. You're actually paying down your principal and interest. So you're building equity. Now, the only thing I advise is for you to, when you're buying a house, you have to buy smart. That's the only thing. You have to buy in a sense where you could jump in if you lose your job, you can be like, I could go do Uber and still pay my mortgage. I could go work at Walmart or Home Depot or, if you need money, like right away. So you always got to buy in a sense where the mortgage is affordable. And that requires, you know, different markets. You don't have to buy in these high markets. You could buy in up and coming markets.